Tyler, you are no stranger to the podcast room. You've been in here a bunch. The viewers love your story, what you're doing. You kind of came up to me today and you're like, hey, let's get in there and do another recording.
Right.
I'm excited to hear what you want to talk about. I know some of it was, saving money versus when you were in the military.
Yep.
You're going back to school, but you see like, oh my God, started to make what you're making here. And we'll get into that in a minute.
Right.
I want you to touch on your schedule, although we're not necessarily promoting the schedule that you run. It works for you.
Right.
And you're really profitable doing what you're doing. And I think it's really attractive to a lot of perspective, whether it be younger veterans that just don't know what to do next, or could be people that just are not in love with their $50,000, $60,000 a year job, 9 to 5. So break down a little bit about what we just talked about out there, and I'm sure the conversation will lead wherever it leads.
Right. So, I've known you for quite a while, I guess probably 6 or 7 years now.
Okay.
And we were at a previous company, and it was all right. Wasn't great. At that point, I lacked some discipline. I knew I needed a kick in the tail. So, admittedly, I needed a kick in the tail.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, what's the best way to do that? Well, I can do the military. So I did that for 4 years, and they really get their money's worth out of you. I'll say that. I was definitely proud to serve. I took great pride in my job, but the pay wasn't there.
Can you say what you were making? Is that allowed?
Yeah, I can definitely say that. It's all public information. You can Google that. So
what were you making?
I was an E3 entry-level enlisted person, and I made, when I was in the barracks, so my housing was provided for, I made about $2,000 take-home pay per month.
Oh.
So that's not per week,
Right.
That's per month.
Yeah. In the bear, I'm guessing it wasn't luxury apartments.
Yeah, it was. You could say it was less than luxury. It was less than ideal.
Yeah.
But at the time, it's whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You embrace the suck, you pay your dues, and you move on. So, and you don't make excuses either. So, anyways, I did all that, and I knew I was going to do my 4 years and get out because it was a 4-year contract. So I'd kind of been, looking at different options. Obviously, I stayed in contact with you, but, not even for that purpose, but I just thought, okay, well, it looks like he's having some really good success over there. Let me go just try this out and see what it's about. So, I got my license, study and all that stuff, got here, and I really liked this company's approach because it's more of like, how can I take care of that person? How can I leave them in a better situation than they were when I got there? That purpose for me is huge because, sure, I like making money and I want to make as much of it as possible, but it's not my main focus. I think if you think like that, money's got to be everything, it's got to be, and you're still riding in the field, it's a terrible approach because now you're thinking about yourself. So I like this little saying I heard, it's keep the main thing the main thing. And when you're sitting down with somebody, the main thing is them and their family. You got to make sure that they're taken care of. And the money will follow. People can tell when you're being genuine and when you really care versus when you just got hot air coming out of your mouth and it doesn't mean anything.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you made.
Oh, yeah. So
let's do that. So you've been here. When was the first deal you wrote? Like 6 weeks ago?
I think end of April. Very tail end of April, beginning of May.
Yeah, so a month and a half?
Yeah, I don't remember what the first one was. I think it was around 2,000 AP.
Yeah, you wrote. So this is fun to talk about. All right,
Yep.
So you wrote a ton of business, and then like all of it got declined.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
So we're like, oh my God, you just popped 10K your first week, and then like 7,000 of it.
Yeah, it all dropped off. So that's another learning lesson, right? Is doing proper field underwriting and doing proper underwriting over the phone, slowing it down, and not just being like, okay, you only have one condition. All right, well, move it to the next thing. It's like, let me get a little more information so I can help guide us to the right path.
But hold on. So all that got declined.
Yep.
You still made $2,000 that week.
Right. Yeah.
That was what was crazy, right? So that was your take home.
Yep.
And then you took it home again, but in a week, with 1/5 of what you were going to make subsequent weeks, writing the same amount of business, just tweaking a little bit of field underwriting.
Yeah. So that's the other crazy thing is that you can do absolutely terrible here and have all these setbacks, but when you look over week to week or month to month, it's still $2,000 a week, which is $96,000 a year. So I mean, where else can you do that?
There's not that many places.
That you can just jump right into a job. And my first month for the entire month ended up making about $15,000 take home,
which is great. And let's put this in perspective too. So you came on board, You're going back to school.
Yep.
You've got a girl that you're crazy about that doesn't live here.
Right.
So you wanted to be able to see her on the weekends. And this was always just going to be a Band-Aid for you until you went to school because you wanted to make a little bit of money.
Right.
I don't think you really thought you were going to make as much as you're making now.
No.
As like a little Band-Aid to your problem.
Right.
So you said, hey, is it okay if I work part-time? I'm like, dude, I just love having you on the team. And you work for yourself, so you can, whatever schedule you want to run, you can run. So 15,000, but you're working 3 days a week, yeah?
Right, yeah.
Monday, you bang the phones like a madman.
Yep.
12 hour, you're here early. You're opening the office
Yep.
half the time,
Mm-hmm.
making me get up earlier, which is great. Which means you're setting the bar higher for everybody else because you're the example of let's work hard. So you left last night at what time?
About 7:20.
Right, so about 10 hours-ish on the phone. You took an hour for lunch in the agency call.
Yep.
And you get a workout in yesterday, too. So
Yep.
you're building in your life into a productive schedule.
Right.
You set 8 appointments. You're in here again because that wasn't enough, so you're setting more.
Mm-hmm.
And then you work like a dog
Yep.
Tuesday, Wednesday. And you've been writing between 7,000 a week and 9,500 a week. You're pretty consistent.
Right.
Which are your contract level, and again, like FFL has the highest comp, and I brought you in as a friend, so you got a little higher than
Thank
normal,
you.
right? And you're making darn near what you're submitting every week now. I mean, it's unbelievable. So what would you tell somebody that is, we said when we were going to talk about this, we wanted to gear this towards people that are in your situation, 20s, just got out of the service, don't really know what to do. You brought up Home Depot because they treat veterans good, and people
Right.
think $10 an hour will actually pay the bills.
Right.
Like, what do you say to people in your age group? You're what, 26?
27.
You're 27. What do you say to the 24 to 28-year-olds that are that had their first job, still in it, don't love it, hate it, not making the money they want to make? What advice do you give them?
So I would say maybe think outside the box a little with this job, right? So the typical thing is like, and I'm going to school, so I mean I see the value in education. I also get it for free, so it'd be a waste for me not to do it. But I would say think outside of the box a little bit and maybe get yourself a little uncomfortable at first because it's going to pay off. So traditionally, maybe you try to go find a job where you can make 50 or 60 grand a year, and then you work your way up, and hey, maybe in 5 years, you might be at that 6-figure salary, and then all your problems magically go away. And obviously, it doesn't work like that. I would say that just take a chance, right? So commission thing might be a little scary to somebody that's never experienced that. If you put in the time, if you do the training, and you're consistent and you don't make excuses for yourself, the money will follow. And I think that's a big thing too, is just taking ownership. So like after every appointment, I actually got this from this guy, David Goggins. I read his book, so he talks about doing an after-action report on all their missions they would do. Mm-hmm. So I kind of treat my appointments like that. So I run an appointment, and I have an after-action report, whether it's in my head or I write it down. What could I have done better? What could I have done differently? What did I do bad? And how can I fix that? After each appointment, think those things. So, but I would just say, don't make excuses. You know what I mean? So just me being here, I'll share that too if you want me to. So just me being here, I got so much going on. So I knew that I wanted to work a job for at least 3 months before I go to school in August. So in order for me to do that, one, I left the military and, had to move. So I have that. Then the next thing is, okay, well, I don't have anyone to stay with here. I can't go stay with mom and dad. They're building a house and they're in an apartment. They don't have the space for me. So I was like, okay, I need to find a place to stay. So I get on Airbnb.
Let's go true transparency. You had like $6,000.
Yeah, I had like $6,000 saved up.
Okay.
Yeah, which took me about a year in the military, maybe a little longer. Well,
and then you and then you had a Vector. So you paid off a $2,000 Vector.
Yep.
Bam, now you're down to $4,000.
Yep.
Then you find an Airbnb.
Then I find an Airbnb. I prepay it for like a month or two, and I have no idea what I'm going into.
How much was that?
Probably like $1,600. So I found a good deal.
Right. So now you got $2,000.
Now I got $2,000.
And then you bought $1,000 worth of leads.
Yeah. Then I bought enough leads. Yep. And and on top of that, I've got a long distance relationship. So I got I really love this girl. I want to make that work. And I'm trying to also get into school and register and all that. So the point in me saying all that is that I could sit here and make every excuse in the book as to why I can't make something happen, or I could think about the reasons and ways to get it done. And I don't talk about my problems. I'm not out here like, oh, I need some help or, whatever. And if you do have problems and you need to talk about them, great. I'm not that kind of person. I don't enjoy attention like that.
So in fact, it's Texas.
Yep.
It's June.
Right.
You have no AC in your truck right now because that just went out.
Yeah, AC just went out on my truck.
Most agents that are doing this are like, I'm not going in the field.
Yeah, no. What?
You're driving with the windows down.
Yeah, it's AC's air conditioning is a luxury. It's a luxury. Like crack the windows a little bit. Obviously, I'm not doing that forever. I got the parts coming to fix it.
Yeah.
It's because of this job I can fix it right away though. So, but yeah, AC is a luxury. Get over it.
Small things make a huge impact, and it makes you realize like how cool it is to be put in a position. Well, not to be put, dude. That's the opposite. How you put yourself in a position to have those things be no big deal.
Right.
If that happened in the military, you might have sold your truck and gotten something different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's a cheaper solution.
Yeah. You're like, well, shoot, somebody else's problem. Let me trade.
Right. Exactly.
But I think
what skills do people could possess to make this a slam dunk of an opportunity, in your opinion?
So honestly, I would say everything that the military taught me as far as intangibles: being disciplined, not making excuses, which I know I've said that 5 or 6 times, but I think it's so important because excuses don't get you anywhere and they don't get anything done. So everyone's got one, nobody wants one, right, with an excuse. I would say that, being disciplined, being on time, and delivering on your word. Just do what you say you're going to do. And if you screw up with a client, you tell them you screwed up. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to weasel your way around it. Just own that mistake. Say, hey, I messed up here. Like your favorite thing, one of my favorite things you told me is that if you screw up, just say you're an idiot. I'm an idiot. I messed it up. I'm new in the field. People are okay with that, and they can relate with that honesty.
It's true.
Because it's so rare that you just hear raw honesty. When people hear it, they love that.
Everybody's had a bad day. Everybody makes mistakes. And I think the more human that you can be to your clients, the more they want to do business with you.
Exactly. So I would just say you're talking about skills.
Yeah.
I mean, really everything. The reason I like this company so much is because it's very procedural and it's very process oriented. So, you get your license. Then there's an online boot camp that you take. Even though I had done this before, I watched that boot camp and took notes on all those videos. You do your boot camp. And then after that, maybe watch some more videos and then you jump into it. Here's your leads. You call your folks. They're people. I don't even like the term leads because they're people. You call those people. You figure out a time that works for you and them, and then you go see them. And that's it.
That's it.
It's not hard.
So if somebody wants to come work for you, right, because you're starting to build a little bit. Yes, you're going to school, but you're going to do this when you're already doing it part-time. You could do this another day, a day, whatever. You're still working.
Right.
You're not hanging your hat on this when you go down to Galveston.
Right.
So if somebody wants to come work for you, and we've gotten a ton of inquiries. Is Tyler hiring? Can we reach out to him? How can people get a hold of you to tell you they want to come work with you, or if they just want to pick your brain on something? If you're willing to do that, how can they get you?
On Instagram, my handle's Whiskey on the Knox. So if you look that up, you can find me there. And, I'll put my phone number out there. If you want.
How can they call you?
Yeah, call me. My number's 817-602-4517. And, give me a shout. If anyone out there has questions, call me directly. I'll answer them.
Well, Tyler's hiring guys, and he's got this thing figured out.
There's zero obligation with that, too. You can call me just to ask questions. I'll answer them. So.
Well, dude, it's a pleasure to work with you.
Yeah, for sure. Good working with you.